me just try and shuffle this stuff a bit. I didn't get silly. I should have set up more before I turned on, I think. Now I've got to try and pull this closer. I think I need to hop in there. Please bear with me for a minute or two. Okay, let's see. I want to try and zoom you out a little bit if I can, so you can see a bit more. But to do that, I have to bring the stand closer to my body, which means that I'm more likely to knock it while I'm trying to record, unfortunately. Oh, you can see my... Did I sweep that bloody front door only a few days ago? That's how windy it's been. Probably should do it every day, I suppose. No, they're too far in. Oh, goodness gracious. This frustrates the snot out of me at the moment. Right. Might try and leave it there, hey? That's just been 2 minutes of me fiddle-faddling around. Right, what did I want to show you today? Irritating me. This quilting case that I've been putting my embroidery in. The lady who made it saw one of my videos and recognised it. And I'm so sorry. I looked up your name. I've written it down. I've left my note inside. But I will check that and I will tag you. And once I get all that information, goodness me. Once I get all that information clear in my head, I'll come back and talk about this a bit more. But until then, let's get back to... I was actually really excited to find out who made it. I wanted to show you over the last couple of days, few days, I've had to go out and run some errands. And of course I've had hydrotherapy. But I did manage to get to a couple of second-hand stores. Now, sometimes I don't find anything, which is okay. But then I sort of think, look, if I don't look, I'm never going to know. So every now and then I might just pop in and have a look. And sometimes I come away with something, sometimes nothing. So I've got a couple of little things I thought I'd share with you. Now this is something I would not have normally picked up, but after watching Kate in the Nest and the way she uses coloured doilies, and even Beck from So Be, I've started thinking differently about coloured doilies. So I found that one, that's a lemon I suppose, and then I found this apricot one, which is quite pretty. Now these, in my mind, I'm thinking most of them are damaged. They've got holes in them. So in my mind, I was thinking when I bought them, they'd probably end up as medallions more than anything, and edgings for needlebooks or pin cushions or something. So I've got another one of those. So there's two of the apricot. And then there's this one which has got white and beige, and it's got the raised, they need to be stamped, but it's got the raised flower, which is quite cute. And I thought they'd be quite good for like those cupcake pin cushions that Kate does. I don't recall picking this one up unless it was attached to some of the ones I got yesterday. came in packs of two for $1. So it might have been with one of the other ones I wanted. They cut the tags off when you buy them, so I can't remember. I was just having a drink, sorry. Then I found this. This is I believe it's just a napkin. It's only the one. And it's not the most gorgeous embroidery, but it's got a really nice crocheted edging over it. Actually, it's just dawned on me. Someone has hand done, it's all machine embroidered, machine edging, but I've just realised that that crocheted edge has been done over the top of it. Because I thought, oh, how did they get that contrast? It's just dawned on me, you goose. And after saying that, I've left my blinking glasses inside again. Man, I'm having one, aren't I? Now I've just dropped all the linen on the floor, on the ground. Okay, let's get back to, I'm trying to think of which ones I got in that same shop. Those ones, I can't remember where I got those from. Oh, look, I've only got these in the last 2 or 3 days, and I can't remember where I've got what from where now. This is just another little crocheted doily, but again, I thought that would potentially be good medallions or pages in Needlebooks. Oh, no, they're not from there. This is from a different one. This is from the Salvos, where I don't usually go these days because they've gotten so expensive. It's nothing fabulous, it's not vintage, but it's got this lovely embroidered flannel flower. I love flannel flowers. I believe that would probably be, I thought it was machine embroidered, but it's actually hand stitched, I believe. Yeah, it's hand embroidered. How about that? I thought it was on cotton. I'm not sure now. I'm starting to think it might be linen. It's still full of, it's either been starched or it's still full of sizing, but it's also, I'm sure it's cotton, but it's also got this pulled thread work through it as well. So there's a bit of fabric there that can be utilised. That's another one. Then I got this. Now, I'm starting to think maybe I shouldn't have got it because it's, yes, it's the kind of fabric I'm after. Yes, I love the colour, even though I'm not a green person, but I was hoping for flowers, and it's covered in fruit, and I'm just not convinced fruit is what I want at the moment. So I got that one anyway. That, I think I paid $1 for that tablecloth. It might have been $2. Then I got this little doily. I think I got this doily and the flannel flower from the Salvos, just the two of them. That was it. That's all I could find. Oh, that's a cute one. That was $1, I believe. $1. Then I got, I'm not sure about this one. It's a delicate little, it's pretty, but it's not vintage at all, I don't think. A cute little, I'd believe that would be machine embroidered. Yeah, it is, but it's quite cute. And then I got this hanky with a bit of hair and cotton on it. It's similar to some I've got that were my uncle's that he brought back from Hong Kong, but it's got all this, look at this pulled threadwork and needle lace in there. It's beautiful. It's very fine. I believe it's, I was going to say it's machine stitched, but no, I don't think it is actually. It would probably have to be done by hand. It'd be mass produced, whatever it is, but which has made me think it was machine stitched, but I'm not convinced you can actually do that on a machine. So I got that one. Then I got this little sandwich tray cloth, little applique one, which I thought was cute. Needs a little bit of repair work here and there, mainly just the embroidery here has come undone, and it's just because they're such big stitches. It looks like they've done almost a back stitch, but each stitch is like that long. That's one stitch, so it's like 1.5 centimeters for each stitch. So they've just caught those, see those big stitches, they've just caught and pulled. So I could either take them out or repair them. That shouldn't be an issue. And then this cute little sandwich tray cloth, which is probably one of the smallest I've ever seen. I like that one. That'd be good for a needle book or a pocket. And then I found this pretty little doily with birds on it. It's got some holes in it, but I've been looking for bluebirds. Not that they're more like little chickadees or something, aren't they? But they're cute little ones with possibly cherry blossom, I don't know, but then these look like raspberries or something. So that's a cute little one. And then I got this tablecloth, which is, I was going to say, they've crocheted it all on the edge on backwards, upside down, but they haven't. I've just folded it up back the front. So this is about 1.5 squared. And it's got these big lilies embroidered on it. And it's beautifully embroidered. It's actually all padded satin stitch. I haven't done padded satin stitch for years. Look at these leaves. They're so chunky and dimensional. They're very cool. So there's 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think there's 10 of those big lilies embroidered on this. 2 in each corner and 4 around the centre. And then it's got the crocheted edge, and the edge is sort of scalloped. I think there's 3 or 4 scallops around it. And I think I paid $5 for that one. So even though I didn't get much out of, I think I went to 4 or 5 shops, I only purchased in 2. There's still enough to add to my little stash, which is ongoing. What else was I going to share with you? Maybe it's time just to get into where I'm up to with the Needlebook. I'll put these back. I'll stick them in there for now, out of the way. I stick them on the shelf under the bench here, and then when I pack up I forget that I've stuck things under there. Oh, here's something else I can show you. My mother gave me these on Monday maybe. These are little felted. They're supposed to be wool, but they feel more like cotton to me. I've got more somewhere she gave me years ago. And then this container full of crocheted spiral doodads. So, didn't think I'd use them at first, and then I thought, oh, I probably could actually. I could make flowers or little catches or buttons, or there's all sorts of things we can do with these little guys. And even though they're quite simple to make, it's going to be very time saving having them already done. So I got those as well. She's done those with a cotton, like a Pearl 8 That's one of those ones I spoke of a while ago that we bought a couple of big cartons from Kmart many years ago, probably about 15 years ago now. And even though at the time I thought we had so many we'd never use them all, I wish I'd have bought more now because they've been very good. This is something from my stash that I bought at a local market a couple of years ago, but it's so pretty I want to show you. I'm saving it just for that bright occasion, which I don't know what it is. It is vintage. I don't know how vintage. I'm guessing maybe 1920s. All of those beads are glass. It's very heavy, but it's absolutely stunning. It's been embroidered onto a piece of tulle. And yeah, all of those beads have been hand stitched onto there. And yeah, it's beautiful. There's crystals, and I'm assuming even these crystally rhinestoney things they're all glass, I would assume, but the milky ones are glass as well. It's absolutely beautiful. And I think from memory I might have paid $3, maybe $5 for it. I don't know. It wasn't that much. I think I did hesitate a little bit at the price, but knowing me, it would be very unlikely that I paid more than $10 for it. But I think it's absolutely stunning. So that's something I've got to use in some project one day. Every now and then I pick up things like this, these vintage Semco cottons. I love things like this, so I just don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I just tuck them away and think they'll all come in handy one day for something. These little hand sewing needles. Sometimes I get older needle books. Look at that, Ajax. I wonder if potentially these needles came in as the lid on the Ajax bottle maybe once. I don't know. But it's sort of maybe could have, looking at the size. I think I've got 2 of those. I've got more of these somewhere. I bought a few books a while ago. They might be in that folder. I'll have to have a look. This was bought at a different time, so it's in a different spot. I'm still trying to get all my supplies in some order. So these are, some of you would know, these are the transfers. So from my understanding, when you've got your linen, when we do the embroidered linens, well, this is for baby wear, so it probably would not have been on linen. It would have been more on a cotton, like that lingerie vintage fabric that my grandmother had with the little pink flowers on it. I can't remember what the type of fabric's called. It's been on the tip of my tongue for ages now. So from what I understand, these are just ironed onto the fabric to embroider. So I've got this baby wear one, and I've got some, oh look, there's a butterfly in there. That's actually stamped and embossed, that. I can tell. But the other ones I've got, I think, have like a crinoline lady maybe, and flower. I was going to look for them before I set up today, and I forgot because I wanted to show you. I don't think there's much more in here that's worth looking at the moment. I've got all sorts of funny treasures in here, including a phone charger. This is a rice bag I started a while ago, and I lined it and I didn't like it. I thought it looked ridiculous, so I took the lining out, and that's as far as I got. So let's get back to, I'm going to see if I can lift this bag onto the ground. So I've got a bit more room. And I want to show you what I've done to the Needlebook since we were last here. So it's, as I mentioned earlier, to me it looks more retro now than, looks like you guys are slipping down a bit. It's more retro than vintage. So I've got the vintage cutter quilt for the cover, but then when we open it up, this is all not attached yet, so I've got a bit hanging. And I'm not exactly sure this layout's going to remain either. So we open it up and we've got that lace pocket in the inside cover with the felt. And then we've got this sandwich tray cloth that I've put the pleats in because it hung out too far. And I was originally going to add another page of fabric on these pleats, but I mean it's quite chunky already. I don't think we need to add any more to it. And then I ended up lining that sandwich tray cloth with some vintage, I'd say 1970s brushed cotton floral. And then I've put this lace in it so we've got pockets in here. We can use those as pockets. Then we've got that yellow check, and I wasn't happy with how my join was on the blanket stitch here, so I was going to just cover it with a little tab. It's just going to be a little tab. So I started to stitch the tab on, and then I came around and I thought, oh, I might not cut that off, that bit of liberty. I'll extend it and then stitch it down to make a feature out of it. And then as I stitched it probably to here, and then I thought, oh, I should back it and actually turn that into a tab with a button so you can slide, I don't know, things onto it that you'd in your little Needlebook. So I will be adding a button. I'll do a hand stitched buttonhole stitch around here when I decide what button I'm going to use. But I'll add a button on there somehow, so then you can, you know, use that for something. I don't know what. And then we turn that page and I've got a piece of wool blanketing. You can put some pins or needles in. And this feature piece ended up a bit wider than I had intended in my mind because I just like that fabric, vintage cotton. Retro 70s. This is the other part of the little sandwich tray cloth that I cut off, and we'll get to that in the back. I'm not sure if I'm going to add this in here yet or not. A piece of this one's not doctor's flannel, it is pure wool, but it's blanketing. It actually feels like it has cashmere or something in it. It is so incredibly soft. It's beautiful. I will probably add something to that. I'm not sure yet. This isn't going to stay like this. That's a bit of chocolate that I got on there the other night that needs to be washed off. So what I was thinking of was cutting this in half. I've just tacked this together so I could get a feel of how it will look. Cutting this in half through here, hem that top bit or put a binding or something on it, and then stitch this onto this wool so I can make pockets out of that. Now this bit here, I'm not sure if I want to keep this little doily in here. It just to me seems redundant. I mean I love it, don't get me wrong, but it feels out of place compared to the rest of it. Then I've got this little vintage hanky and I've pleated it. Got a nice little pleat in here, stitched up the sides, and I've done that so we've got pockets here so they can be used as pockets. The purpose of that pleat is really nothing more than I didn't want to cut the hanky. and it seemed like a good way to turn it into a pocket without cutting it. This is obviously it's actually a napkin, and I stitched the napkin onto the back of this little doily, and then I probably should turn to here. It's had this doily, embroidered doily, and this feels like I need something else in the center here, but I don't know what to put. It just feels, I don't know, to me that feels unfinished, leaving that like that. I've got to take all that basting stitch out, that tacking stitch, and that green stitch down there will come out. Again, I just put it together roughly to try and see how it would come together. But I feel like I need something there, and I don't know what. I don't know if it's as simple as another piece of wool for pins and needles. Where's my... I'm just looking for my wool bits. So I might just, I don't know, I'm hesitating because it's so thick already. You know, maybe I just need a little bit like that to stick down the center. But then, to me, even like if I cut it to size, to me that feels unfinished. So then I'd take it a further step and put an edge around it. I don't know. I just feel like I need something more in there. Maybe that piece in that colour is what I do need, because that's that lining colour. That's all I've got left of it. Maybe that's all I need. That might be an option. So I did a funny... No, I didn't. Or did I? No, I think I've just done a blanket stitch around that doily to attach that serviette to the back. And then when I looked at the back of that, I didn't like how that looked, because all you could see was the back side of that blanket stitch in the green. Now the other thing is, these threads I've used, they're a perlite, but I've hand dyed the green, I've hand dyed the orange, I've hand dyed this different green. This is more of a blue green, so I did it to try and match that felt in the backing, but I also wanted to tie all the greens together. So I've got cool and warm, but I've got cool in with the warm and vice versa. This edge around this wool is Australian merino, and I have hand dyed that as well. And on this side with the orange, I wanted to try and blend in that blanket stitch so it looked purposeful on the reverse side. So this is the reverse side. So I've come along and done a reverse double knotted blanket stitch edge all the way around. And don't ask me what that stitch is, I made it up as I was going, but it was basically a reverse blanket stitch with the double knots on each stitch. So there's that one. Then on the back side of that, and again these pen marks will come out, I've done a bit of that wool blanketing for more pins and needles. There's another pocket here, and I might put something like, I'm not sure yet, but maybe a vintage yo-yo in here. I think I've only got that one that colour, but that colour works well, doesn't it? Or we can go the green. I don't think I want to bring in any blue at this point. I don't have many yo-yos. I need to try and get some more. But that one, I don't think that works. For someone, one of my least favourite colours is green. Brown, green, yellow. Not my favourites. And look at what this has got in it. I think I like the yellow because there's hints of yellow peeking through here and here. I don't mind that actually. My only yellow one, but I think it might have to go in. Now I'll just grab I might just pin that in so I remember. And I feel like I need something on that side as well now. But I don't want another yo-yo. What about something like, oh, they're a bit big, aren't they? Maybe something like that. It's the same as the one on the front cover. But as I mentioned on the way through, I don't think I'm going to leave that one in. It just doesn't work for me. And I'm not convinced this one's the right one either. I think I need to find something else for there. I quite like this, but it's got a hole in this top here, so I don't know if it's worth putting that one in. And then if I do, maybe I should remove that. That's an option. I'll just sit that there for now. Not sure if it will stay. I might find something else. I think that will come out. I'm still not convinced that's the right piece for here. We're back to that wool again. So I'm hoping there'll be at least something on this side of that wool. I need to remember to leave space for pins and needles. Now this piece I worked on last night for hours, this morning, the wee hours of this morning. It's still not quite right, but the idea was to put scissors in here and possibly put a button up there to hold them in, but I need to put something here to cover that pointy tip. So I've done that for some scissors. Then I feel like I need to put something on this side to cover that a bit, those stitches there. Then we're back to that lined sandwich tray cloth. And then this is that other little sandwich tray cloth that had it was quite worn. I've done a little bit of repair work on the flowers here, and then I ended up lining it with that 1970s brushed cotton or flannel, and then that is when I take all those tacking stitches out, that will be a little pocket. I think I will put a button on there, and I've stitched it in a way that there'll be another pocket in the back there. And I'm currently tacking on this crochet edge around that as well. So that's where I'm up to with the Needlebook. I didn't plan on getting that much done away from the camera, but I've had a couple of nights where I haven't been able to sleep. Last night, I'll tell you why I couldn't sleep last night. I was sitting in bed doing some stitching, and I was just thinking, I think it's time to pack up and turn the lights off, and I saw something in the corner of my eye and turned around, and there was a spider on the wall near my bed head, and it was the size of my hand. And I mean, I don't hate spiders. They're not my favourite creatures. I'd prefer it if it was a snake, to be honest. Even a venomous snake I can deal with. They don't bother me. I can handle snakes. I do not like spiders. And the reason is because last week I actually woke up with the bugger on my face. And it's not the first time. I hate waking up with a spider that big on my face. So I chased him around my room for about an hour. I tried to relocate him, and he was getting very agitated and I was getting quite distressed, and it got to the point where I couldn't catch him. I tried to get him in a container to relocate him. Got to the point where I just hit him with the fly spray. It's not what I wanted to do. I'm quite ashamed of myself. But I poured a whole can of freaking fly spray onto him and he's still moving around in that bedroom. So I sat up all night trying to keep an eye on him, trying to make sure he didn't crawl up onto the bed again or drop onto my face. So I haven't had any sleep. It's probably why I'm so irritable, I suppose. So I suppose I should get back to this. We can do some of this together. I don't know what to put on this side. I have contemplated just putting bits of fabric, like contrast, but I sort of feel like it should be something practical as well. That's what else I was going to do. Look for something to put there. That's not the right linen. I've got some more of this linen somewhere. I thought I would use to do something. Here's a bit. This is the same linen. So I got no idea. I've stitched on those eyelets. It took me hours to stitch those on. They were just eyelets in the lace and I cut a border around them and then stitched them on. So I didn't really want to cover them, but I don't think I'm going to have a choice, to be honest. I need something for that because that's quite stabby and it sort of slides down a little bit if I don't have something there. So maybe I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just cutting by eye, a rough shape. It's going to be way too big, but let's sort of fold it in half to get something a bit evenish. This is probably a very unproductive way to do this. Very humid here again today. We've had a lot of rain again the last couple of days, which is good. But it means it's quite humid. I've got a possum, a brush-tailed possum, who's decided that my tomatoes are quite delectable and he's been helping himself to my tomatoes straight from the vine. A little bugger. I think that's too big. So that's going to completely cover those eyelets, which is not what I want to do. Actually, that might work if I can tuck that in there. I'm a bit bummed now that I didn't get that, although I'm thinking it's not blanket stitched along the bottom, but I actually wanted it to protrude a little bit, so that might actually work. Just going to increase this angle a little bit. got here? Bring that in a bit. I'm going to try and match them, so fold that down the centre, and then in theory I should be able to match that fold angle. There we go. And then straighten it out, open it up again. Now I don't want a pointy tip. I want it to end about here-ish, but I think I will also line it. I don't want these bits protruding here, but I don't want to cut them off, so I need to fold it somehow. It's getting a bit bulky. Is this going to work? There's a bit of bulk happening there, which is not ideal. Now I'm struggling to fold that bit. Okay. Don't like how that's folded. I think maybe I can cut a bit of that bulk out of that back there. Press down, you rotter. Sorry guys, I'm trying to concentrate a bit. Just can't quite get that. I see what's happening. That's not coming away from that fold line down the outside. There we go, that's a bit better. Okay, that's gone a bit awry now. I don't want this great big long point here. I want a bit of point, but not that much. I don't think I want to, I think I'm going to have to square it. Hello, there's going to be, when you're watching back at this, you're going to think, what's happened? What happened was, silly me forgot to plug the phone in, so it went flat while I was recording. So there's a big hole bit missing before I realised it had gone flat. So I don't know how much you saw. Last I was trying to make a little pocket for the bottom of this, and I still think that's too big. Let's have a look. I need to cut that back a little bit still. So what I've done here, I've just got 2 pieces of linen. This is just vintage scrap linen that come from this tablecloth. This is one I've had for a while. It was already cut up when I got it, so I don't feel as bad using it. I'm just taking out some tacking stitches now. Bugger. Again, I should have gone in and got my glasses before I started up again. So what we've got here, it's just 2 pieces of linen that I've cut in little triangles. I've cut the tips off because it was really bulky, and I've just folded all the edges over. I needle turned basically to create seams, but it's a bit longer than what I was wanting, so unpicking this tacking stitch that's holding it together at the moment, and I'm going to snip this tip off again, try and get it roughly square, and then I'm going to fold that over, finger press. I want the other piece, the backing or the lining, the same, so just to get a rough idea, I folded on top of it. Now I'm folding it inside it. Make sure they line up. They don't. It's just a bit of a manipulation game now to try and get them to be level. Whoops, I pulled it too far. That's not too bad, so I'm just going to finger press that. Now hopefully I haven't made that too short now. Just going to thread my needle again. Which isn't easy without glasses. I'm sure I go cross-eyed trying to do this without my glasses on. Okay. Now I'm just tacking these 2 pieces of linen together. Tacking, just little stitches at the moment because I want to make sure it sort of stays in place and that folded finger pressed seam doesn't poke out yet. The corners aren't great at the top because they got quite bulky. I wonder if I can address that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to unpick those tops, because that blue thread was already there. Someone had already started to hem it or repair it. And that's got a double fold. So what I'm going to do is pull all that out. It's just too bulky in those corners. I've cut the corners out from the inside, but it's still too bulky. So let's open this up. And see, it's folded. It's probably hard for you guys to see with this silly lens. Still some. Well, that part was hemmed down, the other part wasn't. Now what I'm going to do, see that's been folded and folded again. I'm going to cut that first fold out to try and reduce that bulk. The same on the other side. Get out of there. You can see that's where I had attempted to cut a corner out to reduce the bulk. I made a mess of that. So I'm just going to cut that fold out. Now let's try again. Now because of the shape of this, I still think I need to tuck that corner in like I'm going to do a mitered corner. And then that's much better, much neater. And I can get that point now just because I've taken out one layer of fabric. Just going to hold that for a minute with that pin. Now I've actually cut that corner out, so it's going to be difficult to fold what's left. There we go, that's better. Just using my needle tip to manipulate that to a nice point. And another pin to hold that for now. Until I do this side. So I'm just going to repress that seam and that seam, give it a good finger press. Now I want to fold that corner in like I'm doing mitered corners, and there we go, a nice point. Just manipulate it a bit with my needle and roll that in nice and crisp. I'm running out of pins with actual points. Now we've got one side left to do. Hopefully I haven't stretched the fabric on the bias and they will still match up. Fold that corner in again. This one's a bit trickier. Fold in like we want a mitered corner, and there we go. There's our fourth corner. Now all I've got to do is see if they match up. But to do that, I've actually cut all this running stitch off to get to that top, so now I'm just going to keep going. I've got some in there that we had, making sure it's still, the front and the back are still lining up, and of course I've wrapped it around instead of, need to take that stitch out again. Okay, thread the needle again. I picked some more pansies today to have for you to look at, and they're not even in the shot. Here they are. Little black pansies. Now where was I? Needle threaded. Now pay attention, don't have my glasses on. Okay, now I'm going to take those pins out because that corner is too pointy. Look at that, can you see that? Oh, it's not too bad when I turn it over. It just looked very pointy at first. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this tacking stitch or basting stitch to hold the front and these two pieces of linen together, making sure I'm catching the seam allowance, and I'm just tacking, so I'm not being too careful at this point, making sure those corners are nice and as even as we can get with it that tiny, and we're only finger pressing. It's a bit of a juggling act being this small and having these pins in still. Let's take them out. Now I'm going to work across the top here. And hopefully I don't get to the end of this and realise it's either too small or too big for what I want, because that often happens and gets a bit frustrating sometimes. There we go, that's pretty well tacked in place. Just going to run down this side again because that's where I cut it loose and it's not very secure. So you might be wondering why I've gone to the trouble of lining this linen. I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay, that should be tacked in enough. So two pieces of linen facing each other with finger pressed hems. Now what I want to check is, again, I didn't want to cover those eyelets that I painstakingly stitched on over 3 or 4 hours this morning. But I don't think I've got much choice now. So this will be stitched on in a bit of a pucker like that. So we can put our scissors in. I'm quite happy with that actually. Now the reason I've lined it, two reasons. One is because I didn't want to, with use, potentially putting the scissors in and out. If I had just put a hem there, that could wear and start to fray and lift up and whatnot, and I didn't want that. Secondly, because I trimmed back the Needlebook a little bit the other day because the felt didn't match and whatnot, the scissors protrude a fraction. Oh, they don't actually, they just protrude from that yellow bit, which is good. So what is going to happen regardless is you're going to see this on the other side, this tab sticking out. I didn't want untidy hems showing, which is why I've done a double-sided or lined that piece. So what I will do now is try and I could probably do it with one movement, but I won't. I could potentially stitch it straight onto there, but I'm going to, I could possibly do it now actually, or at least start it. I want to start, I've put a little knot in the end of my thread, and I want to come in and see if I can find a spot where I can get that needle. Probably not, because I've been thorough. I want to come in under that there we go. I want to come in right on that fold, on a fold, so the knot is in the folded seam. So I'm going to bring that in, so we've hidden our knot. Now what I'm going to do is, it should be a ladder stitch. I should do it in a ladder stitch, but because I don't have my glasses on and I can't see, I'm just going to do a, I should do ladder stitch. I'll be frustrated with myself if I don't do it properly. So tiny little stitches. I think I might have to leave this until I've actually got my glasses on, because I'm finding it incredibly challenging to see. I can see that needle's going through and I don't want it to go all the way through. Oh crikey, this is bloody hard without glasses on. So I will ladder stitch all the way around, and if I've done it correctly, which I honestly can't say if I have or not because I can't see. I'm feeling more than I'm seeing. If I've done it correctly, those stitches should be, I know they won't be completely, but they should be invisible along there. So once I've done that, I will then stitch this onto there, and I've just realised something. I wanted to make that a pocket. So, no, it's not going to work. I don't want to, if I open that up and make it an actual pocket, I will cover those eyelets completely, which I don't want to do. I want to be able to peek at them in that pocket, but I don't want the scissors. What's going to happen if I don't come up with another solution? When the scissors are in here, even when this is stitched down, when we turn it over, you're going to see the point of the scissors on the back side. I don't want that visible. So what can we do about that? My solution is to do another bloody pocket. another layer. Running out of bits of linen without marks on it though. So potentially what I might be able to do is undo all those stitches I've just done, which I've accidentally snipped that off anyway, so that's okay. Undo these stitches. Yep, that latest stitch undone. And I'm going to have to undo that tacking stitch all the way around the bottom here as well. And this is one reason I tack so much, apart from the fact that I get more control when I'm manipulating the fabric. I keep changing my mind. So instead of just jumping in and sewing it all up and then thinking, oh bugger, that's not what I want to change that. It's much easier to pull these tacking stitches out than it is if I was to have sewn it all together. I don't have very proper English today, do I? Concentrating. So I don't want to undo all of it, I just want to come back up a bit. So in theory, I'm going to fold it this way, just for now. Actually, maybe I can do it. What I'm trying to do at the moment is just get an idea of placement. So I'm just trying to finger press that around that shape we already have. It's probably a bit far over. Don't want to go that high up. Okay, let's do a bit of finger press here. And hope it's the right size, which I think it's a bit small. Not bad actually. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to slip this in here. is a bit trickier than I had envisaged. Going to cut a little bit of bulk off that, and so it is a bit bulky, but I've now created a little pocket for the tip to go in, the tip of the scissors. Where's my needle? Tuck that in. And we want to do our holding stitch again. Tacking stitch. Not so I want the knot on this side so I can see it when I'm stitching this onto the again. This is just a tacking stitch to hold all these pieces of fabric together. While I'm putting it together. Get out of there. There's a bit of bulk down here that I'm not happy with. I can tuck that in a bit more. That's a bit better. And I want to pull this side in a bit more if I can. That's a bit better now. Still stick. As soon as I turned around, it's come out again. Hopefully by the time I do that seam, it'll be okay. Now, if this works, which I'm not guaranteeing it will, I should be able to still hide that scissor point. So it won't be so stabby. Goodness, there's some layers of tacking stitch basting up there. Okay, that should be enough to hold it in place until it's all stitched together. So what I will do now is, bits of thread hanging out everywhere. So there's now a little pocket here. If it works, I should be able to attach this to here. It doesn't want to push through that, all those layers. I'll just leave it at that for now, and then we want to lift this a little bit. We don't want it flat on the fabric. Bloody pins without sharp points. I think I need to invest in some good pins. Okay, so in theory, I bet it won't work. It'll go straight over the top of it, under the bottom of it. Might have to tack it down somehow. In theory, we should be able to go like this and then get that in that pocket. Yes. So the scissors are now in there. They're getting caught actually. I'm going to go up and over. I'm going to have to tack that back of that pocket down, I think, to the yellow check. Right, the scissors are in. They're in the pocket. The pointy bit's in. By the time we put a button or something up here, when we turn it over, there's no pointy bit showing. It's in that little pocket. Oh, that was a mission. Now I've got to work out something that looks a bit dicky, just having a tab there like that, but that's something. That's progress. So what I need to do now is ladder stitch all the way around that before I attach it to here to hold it all together. That's that bit. So I've need to put a button and a loop on that. I think I'll just do a needle woven bar loop for that. Probably a vintage mother of pearl button. I haven't worked out yet what I'm going to use as a tie to hold it all together. This poor thing keeps moving and slipping and falling and turning everywhere it shouldn't. So what I want, I've got needle threader that I will attach to this somehow. It's just one of those flat steel ones with the hooks each end. So I'll attach a needle threader here somewhere, probably in one of the pockets. So there's one pocket there, one pocket there, there's a pocket there. There's this tabby thing. I don't know what the heck I'm going to do, why that's there, but I thought it might be useful for something. Need to put a button on there and the buttonhole for the tab. We've got a bit of wool for some pins and needles there. We've got, I don't know about this, that's an option, but I'm not happy with it yet. Not sure if I'll work it in or not. But there's a piece of wool again for pins and needles. I want to attach something to this side of the wool. Something like that, but I'm not happy with that one. I'm not sure what I'll do there. Then I will have another pocket here on this side. I think I will remove this doily because it just doesn't feel right to me, that one. I've then got this hanky, vintage hanky, and I feel like I want to put something, I don't know what. It's going to be too big, I think. I want to put something on this side of it. That might work, that might be an option, maybe. And then we turn it over and we've got another pocket here. This doily. I feel like I want to put, no, that's enough, that's enough. Then we open that up to another doily. I felt like it needed something else in the middle, so maybe another piece of felt. But then if I put that, I feel like I want to do an edge around that, not just leave it like that. I've tried other things that so far this piece of felt feels like the only thing that's going to work in there. And then next page, and I've got another piece of wool for pins and needles here. We've got the other side of that vintage hanky, and I think I'll put a yo-yo on this side because yellow yo-yo, we've got pops of yellow peeking through here and a little bit through here, so there's a bit of yellow across the board. Turn it over. Not yet convinced that this piece will stay because there's a hole in it up here. That piece will be removed. I need to find something else for this pocket here. I don't think I'll put anything there because I want more space for pins and needles in the wool. We've got this piece for scissors. I want to put something on this side, I don't know what yet. We've got another pocket here. And then we've got this little pocket purse I've made out of a vintage sandwich tray cloth, and when I take all the basting out there'll be another pocket in the back of that. And I think that's it. So it's going to have the pins and needles. I'll put in some, I'm going to, once I get these finished, it's likely it will be for sale. It will come with a pair of embroidery scissors, probably similar to this but in gold. I've got a pair here, a new pair that still have their, so it'll probably be a pair of gold scissors will be included. I will include a needle threader, a steel needle threader, and I will also include some gold eye needles and some pins. And where did I put that? I've got a decorative pin I want to put in each one too. Oh, here's an example of one. They've all got different charms on them, but they will all come with a decorative pin as well. This one's got a sewing machine on it. Not sure where that will go, but, and as I said, I'll put other pins So there'll be a decorative pin included in each one, and pins, needles, needle threader, pair of embroidery scissors. I think that's it once it's done. It's a chunky monkey, this one. Don't know what I'm going to tie her with yet. I had originally thought of, on this vintage cutter quilt, I was just going to do a blanket stitch edge, but I saw Missy makes things, Missy makes this, Missy makes anyway, had used some edging on hers, and I thought it looked fantastic. So I actually had a piece that was given to me. It was already cut. I assume it's from a tablecloth. So I didn't measure it, but I'm assuming there's going to be enough to go around it. And I'm really pleased with how it's looking, to be honest. So that all needs to be attached. And I think that's probably all I can update you on with the Needlebook at the moment. I need to pull out the tacking stitch down the spine so I can take those pieces out. Where are we? Let's have a look, shall we? I've gone, if you're wondering, oh, that bloody thing keeps moving, I'm so sorry. Everything is so worn out. If you're wondering, when I've tacked this in place to look at it, even when I put it together, I'll probably do it the same, similar way. In fact, I might do a pamphlet stitch to hold it together, a bookbinding stitch. But the tacking stitches that I've done, I've started from the centre and worked out. There's less chance of it shifting and moving and puckering that way. So let's take these stitches out. I can't see. Grab that knot, pull it out. Okay, that one will remain, the hanky will remain. I'm not happy with this piece, and I'm not happy with this piece, even though there's a bit of chocolate on there that needs to come off. That just doesn't feel right, but I don't know what to put instead of. Maybe I just thought pink, but there's not really any pink. Wow, bit stiff when I sent down. I think as much as I want to put, it's just going to make it too chunky to put more blanket in. So I'm going to steer clear from that. I keep going towards bits of fabric, but in saying that, I feel like it needs a doily of some kind. What have I got? Now here's something I should show you. This piece this doily here when I decided to attach a serviette to the back of it, I just want to show you that my first attempt I buggered it up. So I wanted to apply the wool, this bit, before I stitched them together, so that blanket stitch wasn't showing on this side. So I started here, blanket stitched all that down, tacked all this onto the doily, started stitching it all together, and then when I folded it in half, it sat across like that. I couldn't fold it, nothing lined up, and I made a big mess of it. So I just want to share that it doesn't always go to plan. It's not always smooth sailing, and that's okay. These things happen. We just regroup and have another go. So currently I'm just looking for something else that I can apply to that. Go away, fly. What is it? Shoe fly, don't bother me. No, don't like that. Oh, you know what I do have here? I've just spotted. I don't know if it'll work. I just spotted a colour. I wonder if I can make that work and do 2 pockets. The reason I'm hesitating is I can square them up a bit more, that's not a problem. The reason I'm hesitating is there's no definitive edge along here. So once I cut that, that's all going to come unravelled, which is not what we want. But I don't mind that colour in there. Another piece of cutter quilt. It's a piece of linen from Beck, but if I use that, no, I'll save that for something else. Got this one, but if I put that in the middle like that, we're going to cut the flower in half, which seems like a waste. I could offset it. I actually quite like that one, I think. Even go like that. That could potentially be an option. I don't mind that one. That might be a winner. I was trying to keep that one for another project, but I like that. It fits in, it's a bit more, I'm still not sure about that piece though. Because the rest of it's quite retro, that fits in more than the, well that's retro too, it's not vintage, but it just wasn't right. Not that I mean, really, I shouldn't be concerned whether it's vintage or retro or, but I do look and think about those things. And just this, here's some more potential medallions that I can put in, yellow and I'm still here. I'm just looking through some of the linen, see if there's anything else that catches my eye that might work. And I don't think there really is. The only other thing I could potentially do is, at this stage with the supplies I have, just spotted a couple of other things. I think it's too chunky though. No, that's not going to work. Doily. Just looking at some laces, bag of lace, crocheted laces. I've got to dig out all my other laces actually. Potentially another thing I could do is put, instead of that one, I quite like that those colours just seem to work though, don't they? Is put a fabric pocket in. That's just too much red. That's cute, but it's too modern. I think it doesn't work for me. That's the same as that other one I had, isn't it? Yep. I thought I had some more smaller ones. I don't think this will work. Got these guys. Don't like that. It's too stark. It's too modern. It's okay, but I still think this one's much better. Or it's not too bad. That's a bigger pocket though. That's much more area. That one's not too bad. These marks on here, if you can see it, is starch. I got a bit heavy-handed with the starch the other night. I'm using I've got a box of starch from the 1950s and I'm using that, mixing it up. Made that batch a bit too strong. I'm not soaking it in the starch. I'm mixing up the starch in a spray bottle and using it as I'm ironing. So sometimes it gets a bit gluggy if I make it too strong. I mean, that one works, it's okay, but I still think this is the showstopper. Those greens all work, it just works, it's just, I think that's the one. Got more of the white ones, I've got another couple of pink ones. I think that's a winner. think that's our winner chicken dinner. I'm not convinced there's anything there that I like to use as a tie. That one's way too modern. I'm actually thinking a piece of lace. Look at that piece. I like that rick-rack. I've only got that little bit though. 1 metre. That's all I've got. I like that one. I love the packaging that one's on. That's obviously an older one. That's a double rick-rack. Again, only 1 metre of that. This one's way too modern with its little spotty dots. It's cute though. And that one's pretty cool. I don't know what vintage that would be. I don't think it's new, but I don't think it's too old either. That's a newer one. Potentially as old as the 80s, but could also be quite new too. A pink one. So there's not really anything there. I wish I could find all my bits. This is why I'm trying to get myself organised. I'm not as organised as I would like to be. So I'm trying to go through and organising stuff. I've been buying, stacking clear containers, like not just those big storage containers. I've got the nice little acrylic ones for the desk and slowly getting there. It's taking time, but we're making progress. I don't think, I'm just sitting here racking my brain, trying to think if there's something else I can use. I honestly think this is the go, this one. The colours are great. I like the look of that. But if I do that, I don't like this on that hanky now. So I might just need maybe I just need a yo-yo on there. Or one of those. Not sure about that. It's not jumping out at me. Beige and white one, that looks a bit too big, doesn't it? Although, that's not bad, because it sort of ties in with these colours then, doesn't it? That might be an option. Let's have a look. Thank goodness this has tears in it. I hate cutting them up if they're not already damaged. I'm just trying to find one that's in one piece. It's very fine. maybe. Maybe one of those in there. I mean, I don't have to put something on every page. I just feel like some of them need it. They just feel a bit bare or sparse or something. I've got these bloody, I think they're flies. They're not, they're little, they look like just little black flies, like house flies. But my God, do they bite. And I get terrible bloody welts that last for a couple of weeks from them. They start off, they look a little bit like a flea bite. They sting when they bite. They're nearly as bad as a bloody March fly bite. They really sting. But mine, 2 days later, it blows up and it's so itchy, it drives me bonkers. So back to this. I was just having another thought. Maybe I could attach this to there. And then just put something on there. That could, I don't mind that. It's not too bad. I started crocheting some flowers, but I don't have a pattern. I've just been trying to do them and I haven't been happy with them, so. Go too low there. These bloody pins. Completely missed that then. I like to try and get that on the edge of that, but anyway, that gives us an idea. The other thing is though, if I attach this to that side of the wool, and it can act as a pocket, the stitching will be visible on this side. I still don't know whether to use this. I don't think it looks too bad next to that, but I'm wondering whether I need to repair this piece as well where the thread's worn off. So there was another orange, darker orange flower there, and the center of that one's missing. Colours just work. I think I'll leave that one there. I've got to do the button for that. Let's choose a button, hey? I think I'll go mother of pearl. I like my mother of pearl. I use these for nearly everything. Oh, I thought that would be too big. It's alright, isn't it? Oh, I don't mind that one. It's got a bit of a shank, that one. There's one the same, but that one's scratched to Billy-O. Oh, and that one's better. I think I like this one better. What do you think, everybody? Does anyone have an opinion out of those two? I'm just throwing one out. I love that one. Look how chunky that is. It's not, I think still like that one better. Some of them are so worn, they're not glossy anymore, or they're chipped to Billy-O, or I sometimes wonder if I can polish them up again. I still keep coming back to this one. Look at this one, if you can see it. Someone's hand painted little blue flowers on it. I probably should seal that to stop them wearing off any further. I had a couple of beautiful big ones and they've broken. Just been in this jar. That was beautiful, and it had a shank glued on the back of it. It was so pretty, that one. I wonder if I can file that a bit and still use it, but at a bit of an odd shape. I see the back of some of them and think, oh, that one's pretty. And when I pull it out, the front's so worn and scratched and chipped, and I think that one's too modern. Most of them are too small, I think. No, I think I like that one with the shank still. Here's another giant one, look at this. That's the back of it. Isn't it beautiful? I love that one. I often use this one as a scoop to scoop them out. Got a big ring. I still think that one's our best option at the moment. What's this one? I was just thinking this is sort of pulling over this colour, but it doesn't look right. Oh, those bloody flies. Oh. So, I think this one's the winner. Just need to work out where to put it. I want to mark, before I do that, 2.2 centimeters or 8. Don't know. Two 2.567. 6.7, that'd be right. Stupid number. Oh, I think it might be easier just to go like this. I'm just looking for the center. So there she is. How wide do we need to make that? From about there to there. And again, I haven't got my glasses on, so that's about where I'm going to stitch my buttonhole. I'm going to come a fraction shorter. That's not going to rub off, I'll have to press it. So that's where I'm going to do my buttonhole stitch, and I want to use, I'm going to do it by hand. I'm just wondering if I want to do a where did I put the button? I can't remember. From memory, it has to be a little bit smaller than the button, doesn't it? A fraction smaller. I'm just drawing a circle in so I can, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to try and do the circle buttonhole around that bit. Now, think, which way does it go? It goes that way, doesn't it? Inward, so the centre's there. Okay. It's been many years since I've done a hand-stitched buttonhole. When I can't find that button, I've put it on the lid of the button jar. Right, where have I put that? Not enough there. Where's the other one? Got a feeling the crochet cotton in here is going to be too... Oh, it's not, it's linen. I don't think that will work to do my buttonhole. It's too chunky. My top stitch, I don't have enough left in that colour. It's not a nice colour, and it's not a... It doesn't feel like cotton. I could potentially use that though. I'd prefer something like this top stitch. I don't have the right colour. I wonder if I could do it in that colour. What did I use to do that with, is the question. There's another bit of vintage ribbon. Where's all that other... You're probably all sick of listening to me mumbling away by now. Ha! This will work though, I think. This crochet cotton. Bugger bum. I'd be happier with that. That will work. Let's put those away. Now the other thing I would like to do, I've got no idea where I put that needle I was using, unless that's it. I will fill you in a minute once I've threaded this needle. So the other thing I would like to do is draw a couple more lines. Oh, these flies, seriously. Either side of this line to ensure I try and keep my blanket stitch nice and even around my buttonhole. I'm probably off the screen, am I? Because the thing keeps slipping. So I'm just doing, I should measure it. If I do it by eye, I won't get it equal either side. Okay. One, 2 mil. I wonder if that'll be enough. One, two. I've made those dots that small, I can't see them. That does not look even. One, two, it's more like 2.5, I think. 1, 2. I'm going cross-eyed again. One, two, 1, 2. Can't see that other dot. Oh, there it is. Now the idea is, whether I can actually do it's another thing. The idea is to keep my stitches between those lines, but I've also got a stitch on the outside of that centre line on both sides so I can cut down the middle. This is a bit nerve-wracking. So I'm going to come up between the seam here. I don't have a knot. I need to start here actually. That tail is in between those two pieces of fabric at the moment, but just going to lick the end a little bit just because I don't, it's not, oh yeah it is, I don't want it to pull all the way through, so that just slowed it down a bit. Now I'm just going to try and do a little tiny, almost microscopic holding stitch if I can, and then I'm holding that tail to make sure I don't pull it through, and I'm just going to try and do another stitch right on top of that little stitch. And it's just dawned on me, if I cut that centre too far back, I'll cut that tail off and it'll come undone. I should have come in from over there. Okay, holding stitch in place, tiny little stitch. I'm going to have to do this with my glasses on because I can't see that line. What's the word I'm looking for? It needs to be very precise and I can't without my glasses, so got a knot already. Hopefully next time I'll remember my glasses. They're just inside, but I've got to undo everything to get back in there. Okay, let's see. That should be over that side. See how neat we can get this without glasses on. Need to stay on that side of the line. Now, in theory I should just be going like this, but I think I'm going to go cross-eyed trying to see that line. I'm going to go down and then come up because I think that's too far away. What happens with the way I stitch if I continue stitching like this and just picking it up like this, I tend to not catch as much of the back as I want, so it becomes a little bit uneven, just a little bit. It's not dramatic, but it's noticeable, and I don't like it. See, those stitches to me are a little bit far apart. That's because I don't have my glasses on. Trying to get on either side of that line is challenging. I mean, with this one I've got to stay on this side of that center line and this side of the outside line as well. Right hand side of that, both those lines at the moment. But I might wind up here for the day, because this has been going for, we must be getting close to 2 hours. We're over 2 hours, crikey. And it would potentially be incredibly boring for you guys. So I'll wind up here today. I'll try and get a bit more done, what I've spoken about today, catch up, finish a few bits off, and then I'll come back. I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. Depends what happens, what's happening. Could potentially have something else on that I need to address, but yeah, not sure if I'll be here tomorrow or not. But I will be back. And I just noticed you can see all my box with all my stuff in it falling out, and my knee sitting there now because the poor frame's falling over the stand. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Thank you for joining me today. If you've been commenting while I've been stitching, I apologise sincerely. I haven't seen any comments. I've been too focused on what I'm working on, and I haven't been able to see anything flash up, so I do apologise. If there was anything that you had said that I've missed, once it uploads, it takes hours overnight tonight to upload. If you wouldn't mind coming back tomorrow and adding that comment again, that would be great. Because you know, like, sometimes you guys ask me things and I don't answer, and I don't answer because I don't see the question. So I'm not being ignorant or arrogant, I just don't see them. So if you comment during a live, those comments don't come back. Once they flash up, and that's it. I haven't been able to find out if I can retrieve them. So if you can comment again once it's uploaded as a video, that would be great, and then I will answer your questions if you have any. Thank you for all my new subscribers. It's incredibly exciting that so many of you find these videos interesting. And yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. I'm just going to keep rambling. Thank you all very much. If you haven't already, please press the subscribe button. That goes a long way to help me be able to upload more content. And the reason that is, at the moment, because my camera, my phone in the condition it's in, will not let me record and then upload. I have to do a live or it just keeps shutting down. I only get a couple of minutes and then it shuts down. So I don't have enough subscribers yet for unlimited live uploads. I think I'm limited to 50. I must be over the halfway mark. So unless I get more subscribers, I will not be able to continue uploading. So if you like my content, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. That would be wonderful, so I can continue to share. I'm hoping in the next few weeks, might not get to it before Christmas at this stage because I do have a lot going on at the moment, but I would like to start doing some instructional videos, probably from the basics up to, you know, we'll see how we go. I'd like to start with basics if I can. Just simple things like, you know, different kinds of stitches, what sort of tools to use, what they do, how to care for them, how they should be used, how, you know, all different things. Basic things I've spoken about before, like needles. Just needles have a front and a back. There's different types of needles, what they're used for, different types of fabrics, what they're used for. I'd just like to start with the basics and see how we go from there. I often get questions. I thought if I start to compile a catalogue of information, it might be helpful. I'd love to keep all my content free to everyone, but I can't promise that it will remain free, just because the simple fact that my equipment is in pieces. My phone is more than 5 years old now. The front and the back are no longer attached, so the whole back of the phone is separate to the front. It shuts down, it overheats, it doesn't hold any video. It's all sorts of issues with it. It has screen burn. I've smashed one of the lenses in it, so it's not focusing correctly. All sorts of things wrong with the phone. I desperately need a new one, especially to upload and record. The phone has shut down 3 times now and refused to boot up again for days. So I've gone a couple of days without it. It's the only phone I have. It's my lifeline. I don't have a car, so, but like thousands of us at the moment, with the cost of living, I just can't afford to replace it. So if anyone is in a position to help or would like to help, I've got an Amazon wish list. That would be great. Otherwise, I may need to start charging for content, for instructional videos when I start getting to them, tutorials, little workshops potentially. I don't want to. I really want to make it available to everyone, for the simple fact that when I was learning, and I'm still learning, I'm learning every day, but when I went looking for information, and I still go looking for information and cannot access it unless I pay money, which I understand. I know people have to make a living. I don't begrudge them at all, but for some of us it's just not an accessible option. So I'd like to try and make it accessible to everybody, but as I mentioned, I can't promise it was, I can leave it that way at this stage. But anyway, enough rambling. Thank you all so very much again for joining me. I hope you're enjoying what I'm putting out there. I have been getting some great comments, which I love. Thank you so very much. I'd love to hear from more of you. If there's anything that you'd like me to do a tutorial on, if there's anything that I have shown that I haven't explained, please let me know in the comments and let me know what you'd like me to go through step by step. I can do that. I can do step-by-step videos if that's helpful. If there's anything that you think I may be able to teach that I haven't yet, let me know. If there's something you'd like to learn, let me know in the comments. I'm originally trained in fine embroidery. I'd studied fine embroidery for nearly 25 years, and then I taught it for maybe 12 years. I have done some classes at the U3A. I did a lot of classes for WEA. I've worked at a quilt store, an art studio. I have taught other mediums, watercolour, jewellery making, PMC, spinning, knitting, crochet. My knitting and crochet skills are basic, medium, but there's a lot of other things I've done. So if you've seen anything I've made, want to know how it's done, want any knowledge, tutorials, whatever, please let me know in the comments and I will add it to my schedule of my recording schedule and see how we go. I hope that all makes sense. Once again, I thank you all so very, very, very much for being here, for commenting, for liking, for sharing, for hitting the subscribe button and everything else. Just being here and watching is a monumental, massive amount of support, which I'm really overwhelmed with in a good way. It's been a wonderful surprise to see that so many of you enjoy these videos. So thank you once again, and I'm gonna go now, guys, because I'm just rambling, and I'll see you next time. Happy stitching.